Hi again, we're back. Yes, we all are back. And as you can see, we're doing something different. I've been playing with light. Yeah, really bringing out that inner film student in me. But I put up a poll, and this was the consensus. If anybody wants to see any of the other colors, let me know. I can always repost the poll or, like send it out to the, I guess, general public. But blue with green. And we also have a little bit of daylight slipping in today, so chef's kiss. Daylight's always the best lighting. But anyway, we're gonna start rolling right into the topic of today, which is creating content through other forms and mediums. So, like, the idea is to try and create through other mediums and, getting outside of your comfort zone, so to speak. So, like, let's say you're a cinematographer and this is what you do and you really enjoy this, but you've never tried painting. Go try painting. Why not? What is the worst that could happen? Oh, you're not good at it. No one's good at it in the beginning, so, if you enjoy the process, though, that gives you something to start on. And that's the starting point, is you have to start by trying things. You never know if you're good at something if you never try something, and you're never really good at something the moment you touch it. Everything takes practice. Now, you can have like a natural draw to certain things, like I'm actually very mechanically inclined. I would have never guessed that. But I recently worked a job where I worked in a factory and we had to work on machines, and I was very mechanically inclined. So you never know. You never know what you're good at. You never know what you'll enjoy doing either. So try different things. Okay, well, let's say you don't know how to try new things. Like, I don't know where to start. There's so many things out there. I get it. It's a little overwhelming. It can be. But one of the things that you can do in order to start broadening your horizons is look at your friends. Look at your social groups. Look at the loved ones in your lives. What are they doing? What interests do they have? And are you interested in any of those things? If so, there's it's a good starting point for you. Like, why not? Why not? Because not only, is it something that is interesting to you, but someone who you can do it with, or you can ask pointers from and stuff like that. It's a great point. Like, it's a great starting point. So never knock your internal circle. Another good way that you can start looking for things to do is actually go look yourself up. Hobby lists. There are plenty of them out there. There's a plethora of information about hobbies and different things and activities and whatnot. And even like social calendars or like upcoming events in your local area. Like anything that sounds remotely interesting. Look up local businesses. Like, see what's out there. What's readily available for you too. Because I don't know, for myself, for example, I always wanted to get into martial arts when I was younger, but there wasn't a dojo within within a 50-mile radius of where I lived. So it was a little disheartening. And I never really lost that spark. And when I went to college, we had groups there, and I did it in college. So I used what was available to me when I could, but sometimes you also have to make that leap. If it's not something that's within 50 miles of you, but it's something that you are really interested in, research it. That's a point too that everybody always forgets about. They're always like, oh, well, if I can't go do the thing. Well, if you're interested in the thing, researching it and getting to know it, kind of almost like going on first dates or online dating. You get to know it, you research it, you find out if honestly it is something you really like. Because if you like something simply for the aesthetic of it, you will find out really quickly. If you like something for what it's actually doing and the attachment that you have with it, then again, you will know in a hurry. And if you start researching it and it's boring to learn, or you're watching tutorials and you're just like, then okay, now you know. So move on. Another important point about trying different things and experimenting with other mediums is the idea of overwhelm. I can personally vouch for this. I understand what it's like loving multiple things, wanting to try multiple things all at the same time. It's difficult. Because finding that happy medium where you're actually able to feel like you're doing something in each of the different categories, it gets a little overwhelming. And I don't know, maybe it's a pseudo fear of missing out or something like that. But I find myself very passionate about a multitude of different topics and interests and things like that. So it makes it really hard. I mean, as hopefully you can see through my social medias and my content that I'm even creating, I'm multifaceted. But it does. It takes a lot to find that balance. I'm still working on it, not gonna lie. I'm not saying it's not doable, but if you are someone who's just trying to start dabbling in the waters of trying other things, don't do that to yourself. Don't make yourself sit down with 5 topics in mind and be like, I'm gonna tackle all of these at the same exact time. It'll lead to burnout. And then you'll start to wonder if any of them actually interest you. So don't do that to yourself. Take it one little step at a time. There are also easy ways to start with something simply. Because, I know another big debate is everything so expensive right now. Well, okay, I'll level with you. Things are not exactly cheap, but you can still practice certain things without having to fully commit. For example, you want to try photography, but you don't have a camera. You have a cell phone. Try using that when you're out on walks or whenever you go out with friends. Use your camera. See if you can take interesting to you photos. Things like photos that you like. Don't compare yourself to other photographers or anything like that. You're using a cell phone. And stop. I already know where you're going with it. Just don't criticize yourself. Honest. Let it be. Just play and have some fun. Take your little photos on your little camera, on your phone, and just, get yourself into the vibe. Find out if this is something that you enjoy doing. Maybe it is. Okay, cool. Still not really willing to commit to the expensive cameras. You can rent cameras, and you can also, this is a good thing to do when you're actually shopping for cameras. Rent, the certain models that you're interested in, because I think you can get them as cheap as, $50 a day, depending on where you look. It really depends, but there might be local shops and things like that. Moral of the story is, you can rent cameras, and you can try them out, so, dabbling with, okay, do I like the settings on this one? Do I like the way this one feels? It's almost like buying a car. It's no different, not everybody's going out and renting the car model that they're thinking about buying or anything like that. But, it's an approach that you can take. So, don't, forget that that's something you can try. And I understand that doesn't apply for everything. Painting, for example, you do kind of have to commit to that. You have to buy the paints. You have to buy the canvas. You can't just rent a canvas and be like, okay, I'm done with it, here you go. I know it doesn't really work that way, but you can explore cheaper options. You don't have to get, the professional grade set. You're not there, so why are you worried about using professional grade anything? It's all about finding out if the feel and the motion and the, experience of it is what interests you. So start there. Because at the end of the day, too, it's not about the money. It's not about the money that you're spending on it. It's not about the money that you could potentially make back on it. And on that note, it is really important to stress that, yes, we all need to make money. That's just the way the world works. We can't stop that. It's a machine, and we are all part of it in our own little ways. But everybody should at least explore the idea of having a hobby. Now, hobbies can range, you can have any number. You can work on cars, or you like video games, or you can like painting, or you can like going on hikes, These are all things that you could technically have as a hobby. And the goal of a hobby is to create without expectation. Or to experience without expectation. One way or the other, however you want to view it. Having the hobby is just your form of play. If you go into all of this with the mindset of I need to explore so I can get a hobby so I can make money, you're kind of missing the point of having a hobby. A hobby is, a means for you to break down how, you're feeling at the end of the day, or, to escape, okay, I don't like the phrase escape from your reality, but, it's more like a reflection on, okay, you worked your awful little job, and then you went home, and you really love working on a motorcycle, so you sit down and you crack out your wrenches and you just go ham, because you enjoy that. It's your way of decompressing after the day, So, don't take that away from yourself. Not everything needs to be monetized. So allow yourself to breathe and understand that, there are certain times where it's okay to just do something for fun. And just because you enjoy it. On that note, too, so there are other people that also enjoy things that you enjoy, or, might potentially enjoy. Who knows? Another way to find out, though, if you like things in line with, the whole research and, tutorials and all of that fun stuff, is, by joining forums or online communities. Getting involved with, settings where, it's low commitment on your end, so you can dabble and you can play and you can learn. And if it's something that you inevitably do fall in love with and that you really enjoy, then you can continue down that path. Or you can start asking questions, you can get involved. Maybe there are upcoming events, things like that. So you don't always need even just physical people in your life, maybe you have friends online, or you're just getting started on the online world, that type of thing. It is another starting point in order to learn how to explore different mediums. And the last thing that I really wanted to kind of talk about today is the concept of how actually getting started with stuff is the best way to find out if you like it or not. Because yes, at the end of the day, as much value as you can obtain from research, until you actually do the thing, all you have is your research. You don't have your own experiences. And I don't know why it's become such a daunting idea about, going out and experiencing things on our own. Why everybody feels like, I have to have everything figured out before I even, press start. And while I can appreciate it, at the same time, you're denying yourself the ability to learn from your own experiences and to actually, experience things. Which I understand, it can be scary, but there's a value to it that's lost if you look everything up and know exactly how to do things without ever even trying. But, also, a lot of times, learning can only be truly experienced when you do it yourself. So, while you're sitting there researching and getting your thoughts put together, don't forget that eventually you are going to have to put your thoughts and your lessons into practice. And there is value in both. Just don't get too hung up on the whole research side, especially to the point where, you're paralyzed in fear of trying something new because you're afraid you're going to look like a beginner, which you are a beginner, so let yourself begin something. Maybe? I don't know. Seems pretty straightforward. But, yeah. So allow yourself to also create and to start something. Don't just sit there and research. Because ultimately, they do. They both have their value. But until you actually start doing things, then all you have is knowledge. And it's not quite the same. So, let yourself play. It's okay. So again, the truth is that we all have to do something with ourselves in order to, maintain ourselves in society, in order to pay our bills and things like that. But there is also the need and desire that we all have to do something more. Sometimes we are lucky enough to do the things that we love as a career. If you can't do that, or you haven't figured out how to get there yet, that's okay. Keep working on it on the side. Keep trying new things, keep exploring, Like, never put yourself in a box and just leave yourself there and tell yourself that you're not even worth it, because you are worth it. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of a fight. Yes, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle, and it's going to be okay in the end. So, stop stressing so much. Go play a little, go try different things. Because at the end of the day, like, it's the freedom of creating. And it's probably the most human thing that any of us can experience. Creation and creativity is, in its essence, just problem solving. It's how we approach things, it's how we deal with things, maybe on an emotional level, maybe on a physical level, maybe, even in terms of just a creation level. It's ultimately a way that we deal with things and problem solve on an emotional level, on a physical level. It'll vary from individual to individual. My final note is this. Please just allow yourself that ability. You're the only one that can give that to you, so don't deny yourself that. Go forth, enjoy the process, enjoy creating, and share with us what you learn. What hobbies do all of you have? What do you like to do? What do you spend your time doing? Are you someone who's stuck right now between a multitude of different things? Are you someone who's stuck trying to figure out what you like? Does any of this information help? Do you have any other questions? Go ahead. Get involved. With me or with a community that you've been wanting to. The fact is, just start something today, even if it's as simple as just looking something up. Life is short, and stop being afraid of living it. So, I hope this was helpful. I hope you all have a good day. Until next time then, remember, take care of yourselves and keep going.